TGNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper.
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Talking about Vegas.
Yes. You're coming to Vegas, right?
Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show...
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has been down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent up here's wearing a vest.
On True, this is Gettysburg 7 coming to you live from the floor of Star Trek Las Vegas 15 at the Rio Hotel. Alongside me is Terry.
Hello, everyone.
And those that are longtime listeners can hear in my voice, I'm so honored to have sitting with us from Buffy, from Deep Space Nine, a small part on Voyager's premiere, so many things, the great Armin Shimerman.
Thank you. You're very kind, and I was very lucky to be on all those shows and many more. Thank you.
I love Buffy so much.
Buffy was an accident.
Was it really?
Yeah, I auditioned for Flutie, which was the original principal, and my friend Kenny got it, and I watched the show because Kenny was on it, and adored the show, really. And then one day, I got a phone call from the Buffy people saying, would you like to be our next principal? And I said, well, you understand, I have another TV show, because we did Buffy and Star Trek Deep Space Nine at the same time. And they said, not to worry, we're going to kill the principals off on a regular basis. and I said, great, so there's no problem. And lo and behold, 3 years later, they finally killed me off. And at the end of each of the seasons that I was involved with, I kept looking at the end of the script saying, okay, how do I die? And they forgot to kill me off. And it's a tribute to Paramount. I'm not sure it's Paramount's decision, but it's a tribute to my producers on Star Trek. My contract with Paramount said I could not do any other TV shows. And so my stint on Buffy, which was rather extensive for a recurring character, they allowed me to do, and in fact would bend over backwards to try to get me on as many Buffy shows as I could.
That's really cool. Well, one of the reasons why we really wanted to talk to you today was because you are involved in a theater that is actually near and dear to my heart, as well as what your theater performs, and you have an extraordinary love for Shakespeare.
Yes, thank you, Terry. Yeah.
And I want to have our listeners, because our show is all about character and about storytelling, and there was no greater storyteller, as far as most of us are concerned, than Shakespeare, because he created the root of many of the characters that every other character is based on now. What's going on with your theater? What can we do to help support your theater projects?
Well, that's very kind. First of all, the name of the theater is called Antaeus, Antaeus, and if you go to www.antaeus.org, you can find out more about our theater. You can find about what we do, our season. Currently we do about 3 shows a year. We are a unique experience in the sense that all of our casts for each show we're doing Picnic right now, is double cast, meaning our director, whoever he or she is forced to rehearse 2 casts at the same time, and they intermingle. The reason being, because there are actors like myself, and if you're a Buffy fan, Harry Groner, who used to play the mayor, is one of the members of our company. There are lots of working actors in our company. They all, at any moment, get jobs.
Right.
So, in order to keep the integrity of the play together, we don't have understudies. We have 2 equals, and they perform on different nights. And if someone is fortunate enough to get work, that person is replaced by an equal. They're not replaced. Their double comes in and steps in and does it. And the rest of the cast has rehearsed with them, knows exactly what they're going to do. There's no tension. There's no loss of quality. That's it. So that is what Antaeus does. We also do other things besides plays. We run an academy. Most of our members are people like myself of a certain age. And we are training the next generation of theater actors into the skills of working in classical theater that we have accumulated over the course of our careers. We've helped a lot of young actors on their way to better careers, including a friend of mine's son, my friend Robert Pine's son, Chris.
I've heard of him, I think. Yeah.
Who was a member of our academy before he went on to do other stuff.
He might go on to do big things.
He might.
Is he the cute one on the thing next to
No, that's Carl Urban.
Oh, okay.
But aside from our academy, and aside from doing plays, we also are very proud of our outreach work. We help teenagers who've been in trouble with the law. On the male side, primarily boys that have been in trouble with the law. And we help to bring them back into society. We're one of many programs that go into campuses where the boys cannot leave at night. They're too young to be in prison, but they can't stay at home. And through our theater exercises, through our writing programs, we are trying to get them back involved with everyday life. And we're happy to say most of the boys at Aguilar, where we work mostly, which is the name of the campus, there's a very little recidivism. In other words, they don't go back into the system very often. And we're very glad to be part of that, for want of a better term, rescue committee. And we bring the boys who wouldn't talk to each other because of different gang associations, because of whatever their backgrounds are, we find them hugging at the end of the process. Now, you're asking me about Shakespeare, and I haven't gotten to that yet.
No, it's okay, because really it does fall in line, but are you finding the use of, I'm assuming you're finding the use of arts as a tool for communication and dispute resolution?
That's exactly right. We, for instance, now I'm going to get to Shakespeare. We go in and we take situations in Shakespeare. As you said, these stories are as old as the hills, and the characters are as well. So, for instance, we use King Lear, and we say, listen, the character of Edgar has just been disowned by his family. He has to live on the streets. He has to hide from the authorities. This is something a lot of the boys can relate to. And when they realize that their story has been written about by William Shakespeare, whether they respect him or not, they go, oh. And then we ask them to start with telling their story. It's primarily a writing program. A writing program started by Liz Berman, Rick Berman's wife.
Amazing.
And we, through theater games, through nurturing, they start off by saying, yeah, I'm 14 years old and I've been in the system for 3 years or whatever. And we start there, we nurture, we deal with their writing, we build their characters just as actors do with new plays and new playwrights. And eventually, after a 12 to 14 week course where our teachers go in twice, 3 times a week, they end up with short stories about themselves that are the most moving, the most heartbreaking pieces of literature that I've ever encountered. And these boys, their experience, their life experience, they will experience things that I will never, ever experience. We do sort of the same thing on the female side. We work with schools that take in unwed teenage mothers. We do the same thing. So we're using classical theater to open them up and to emphasize their empathy, their nurturing, their understanding that the world around them understands what they're doing. I should also say, at the end of our Aguilar program, the boys are led off campus, they come to our theater, they read their stories in front of total strangers.
That must be terrifying.
It is terrifying. They all have stage fright. Oh, not all of them, most of them. But invariably, their stories are so moving that at the end of the evening, when the crowd stands up and applauds them for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, we get feedback that they feel wanted. That they're told that what they did was important. And They love that, and it's helpful toward their recuperation.
That's an extraordinarily wonderful project, and we couldn't be prouder to do what we can to support Antaeus and all of its sub-projects on top of it.
So thank you, Terry. Let me tell you, if people will go to our website, we're ensconced right now in a space that only holds about 59 people. That's the theater. We have a little tiny library, which is also the heart and soul of our theater, because we're a study group to start with. So the library is the heart and soul of our theater. It's just too small now for all the things we do. So we're moving to Glendale, hopefully, to a larger space, and we're in the process of a capital campaign raising money for the move. We need $2 million.
Tax deductible.
Tax deductible if you make your contribution through the website. And thank you, Matt. And hopefully in a year's time, we've sort of broken ground, but not really, because our contractors, our construction people, really can't start until all the money's in place.
Correct.
So if someone feels generous, wants to know more about us, please visit our website. You can learn more about our capital campaign. You can learn more about the plays that we do, and you can learn about more of the outreach program that we conduct.
And again, for those of our listeners who might not have or might be listening in your car, which I know a lot of you do, all you have to do is go back to your the G&T Show website. Those links will be in the show notes right underneath this recording. So again, Armin, thank you.
I'm not finished yet, because I want to talk about a project that I was involved with that we're coming out in at the end of the year.
We're hoping the editing and everything will be done by the end of the year, but we're also looking at selling the project, so that could be,
I wasn't sure.
I don't want to give a hard date on it, but yes, everything looks good. We've already got our first teaser out.
And where do they go to see the trailer, Matt?
The trailer for Fifth Passenger is www.fifthpassenger.com.
That's 5T.
That's 5TH, Fifth Passenger. And we have some great cast members.
It's an incredible cast. And people who are fans of Star Trek certainly will recognize a number of them. But we also have some wonderful actors who may not be as familiar to Morgan, who is the lead, is one of them. She does an incredible performance, an incredibly empathetic performance. People really should see it. And the story is fascinating.
Yeah. David Lim.
That's right. He does a terrific job.
Everybody. It was a great...
Well, it's something that our show has actually covered before.
Yes.
We've actually talked about it when we first saw
our concept
trailer, and now I've seen the newest trailer today, which was all
official teaser,
and it's really remarkable. And I have to say, I'm not one for the kind of scary stuff. I'm just not. However, Nick is. But I have to say, that one was very intriguing to me, and I think what got me to it was that I understood what we were going for here is I actually want to know who those people are.
Exactly. They're very sympathetic people. And for me, thank you, Fifth Passengers, because for the first time in I can't tell you how many years, I actually play a nice guy.
Quark was a nice guy.
Not for some.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick, though.
Two things I want to say. I always said I would say to you if we ever had a chance to sit down with you. One, the root beer quote, greatest quote ever. And everything about it, because Garrick is also my favorite character. So that
and I'm having dinner with him tonight.
Yeah. The other is you wrote a book.
I wrote several books.
As Quark.
Yes. Well, not as Quark, but yes.
Our show is about storytelling. And what was that like?
Well, it depends on which book you're talking about. Is it the Star Trek book?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, the Star Trek book. So the Star Trek book is called the 34th Rule, which I believe means war is good for business. That's the 34th Rule of Acquisition. And one of the things that all the members of our cast were concerned about, and one of the things I'm particularly interested in, is prejudice, and prejudice in all its forms. And the 34th Rule is about prejudice and what the results of prejudice can do. In that book, the Ferengi are locked up in what basically a concentration camp, and the injustice is done not only to them but to the other people surrounding them. And it's a terrific it was a terrific concept, and hopefully we did it justice.
I will tell you, in 2005, I was in Iraq, and that's when I saw Deep Space Nine. Your series was so prescient in so many ways of what I would go through 10 years later. It was amazing.
Originally, the concept for Deep Space Nine was based on the Serbian-Croatian War.
That's what I always thought.
And of course, every war is sort of related, and that too is a war of prejudice.
Yes.
And all the ideas that came to the fore in Deep Space Nine come from the concept of how horrible war is. And if you've been through it and you knew better than any of us or our writers, you understand.
I told Aaron that it's only a paper moon. I still get choked.
Oh, that's an incredible episode. Yeah.
It captured what I was going through. And you, in the predecessor AR.
Yes, the Siege of AR, whatever the number is.
For Nod was amazing.
Thank you.
And I think you went through so much growth in that show.
Thank you. The character did.
You know what I mean? But it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I actually have a question for you. I do. That character, and you've been Beauty and the Beast. You've been doing things for so many years. The one question I want that character, you really made that character. Were they really going to expand it the way that they did? Or, because you brought that character to life so much.
Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
He just jumped off the screen. I'm wondering, did your portrayal of that character make them write it in more? Because that's what it seemed.
I learned from that experience that writers, of course, create characters. We audition for those characters. Whatever quality is in us that the producers see, that they think, oh, that's the quality we need for this character. That's how they start the show. As time goes on, as they begin to watch dailies, as they have interaction with the actors, they begin to write the characters to the actors. We start out, the actors are trying to fill the characters' shoes, but then it turns around and the characters become closer and closer to the people that are playing them. So, whatever, and I thank you for the compliment, whatever they decided to do with my character probably had a great deal to do as they got with of their understanding of who I was. And as they understood who Armin was, they began to incorporate those qualities into the character I was playing, into Quark.
Well, it just turned out so beautifully. I mean,
any character that can befuddle Iggy Pop, I love it.
Oh, Iggy Pop had such a good time. He was so scared.
Wasn't he?
Yes, and Cecily Adams, who played Moogie, so babysat him for that entire scene that he had to do. She was terrific. Poor Cecily has passed away now, but he was so terrified, and she was so good to him, and we were delighted to have him. Delighted to have him.
It's been an absolute delight to have you with us. Thank you so much for sharing not only a little bit about your work, but about the projects that you've got going, and how important that you are to so many people who need you, and showing what a difference the arts can make to a young one.
And will we see you at the Rat Pack tomorrow night?
Yes, of course, I'll be at the Rat Pack. You'll hear my singing.
We never miss it.
Good.
Thank you.
That's terrific. Thank you for everything you've done, and please, if people are interested, please visit our website.
Well, we're going to get our listeners to donate. Thank you so very much, and live long and prosper.
Joel on True, citizens.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Andrew Allen, Grethor, and 5 Year Mission. This has been a Busy Little Beaver production.
Some dude walks out, proceeds to explain what it's all about. I sure want to leave. I think you'd agree, but we cannot leave till we find out what it's all about. come true, 'cause you just